Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions you can possibly ask. Seriously, it's a question that gets right to the very heart of what reality even is. I mean, just think about it for a second. What does a star billions of light years away have in common with, say, the phone in your hand, or a fleeting thought with a giant redwood tree? It seems like there's no way to find one single thing that connects them all, right? Well, the answer is actually incredibly simple and at the same time, unbelievably deep. Everything that is just is. It has being. It exists. Now, I know, that might sound almost too obvious, but trust me, this simple concept of being is the absolute foundation for understanding literally everything else. It's the one idea that applies to all things, with zero limits. To really get our heads around this, we need a special term: transcendental. You know all the little boxes we put things in? Living, not living, animal, vegetable, mineral. Well, a transcendental property is one that just leaps over all of those boxes. It transcends them. It's a property that applies to every single thing that exists, period. No exceptions. You see, the power of this idea of being is just unique. Its meaning, what philosophers call its comprehension, is existence itself. And its range, its extension, it's infinite. It applies to everything. So here's the kicker. What does the idea of being exclude? Absolutely nothing. It is the ultimate all-embracing concept. But here's where it gets really cool. Being isn't just some flat, boring idea. Philosophers talk about it having different faces or properties. And these are aspects that are just as universal as being itself. Each one shows us a whole different dimension of reality. So the first face we're going to look at is unity, or if you want to get fancy, unum in Latin. This is the property of being one. This idea of oneness just means that for anything to exist, it has to be undivided in itself. It needs some kind of internal glue holding it together as one single thing, making it distinct from everything else around it. You know, a chair is a chair because it's one thing. It's not just a random pile of wood and screws. It has unity. And that simple question, that really gets to the core of what unity is all about. It's this property of indivisibility that every single existing thing has. I mean, without it, the universe would just be this endless, chaotic soup of disconnected parts. All right, next up we have the property of being true, or verum. Now, this has nothing to do with telling the truth versus telling a lie. It's actually something way more fundamental. The idea here is that everything that exists can, at least in principle, be understood. It has a nature, a kind of blueprint that a mind can connect with and grasp. So truth, in this deep sense, is what happens when your understanding lines up perfectly with reality, when you see something for what it truly is. Every single being has this knowability just baked right into it. It means that reality isn't just random noise. There's an order to things, an intelligibility, that our minds are actually built to connect with. You know that aha moment you get when you finally understand something? Well, every time that happens, you're tapping right into this transcendental property of truth. The third big property is the good, or bonum. But hold on, before you jump to conclusions, this isn't about moral good versus evil. It's about something closer to perfection and purpose. So here's the philosophical idea. A thing is good when it's fully realizing its own nature. It's about being desirable. So a healthy, thriving tree is a good tree because it's perfectly living out its tree-ness. A really sharp knife is a good knife because it's awesome at being a knife. And that perfection makes them desirable as an end in themselves. Now, this is a pretty wild idea when you think about it. It's suggesting that every single thing, just because it exists and has a nature, also has a kind of goodness or perfection that can be sought after or desired. It's what everything wants, really, to just be fully itself. Okay, so we've got one, true, and good. But what about beauty? This one's a little different. It's often seen as the grand finale of the others, but its official status is, well, it's a bit more complicated. What's so fascinating is that the great philosopher Thomas Aquinas, whose work we're drawing from here, doesn't officially put beauty on the list of transcendentals. But at the same time, he says that every single being is beautiful. So what's going on here? So what is beauty anyway? In this way of thinking, beauty is defined as something that just delights the mind when you perceive it or think about it. It's not just about being pretty to look at. It's about the deep pleasure that comes from truly knowing something. And this brings up a really key difference. The good is what we strive for. It's what pleases our desires. But the beautiful? It pleases us simply in the act of understanding it. You could say the good is about possessing something, while the beautiful is about perceiving it. And that brings us to the ultimate insight. See, beauty isn't listed separately because it's not just another property next to the others. It's what happens when they all shine through together. When something is completely itself, that's one, perfectly knowable, that's true, and perfectly fulfilling its nature, that's good. That incredible harmony just radiates as beauty. It's the splendor of truth and goodness all perceived in a single breathtaking moment. So if everything that exists has unity, truth, and goodness, does that mean that beauty is woven into the very fabric of reality itself?